Welcome, everybody, to Fergo and the Freak. My name is the Glorious League Freak. This is episode 216, and I'm here with a very, very special guest. She's one of my favourite people in the whole world. Hello, Nadine.
Hello, I'm back.
Yeah. Well, you kicked so much ass last week with the previews that it's like I had to get you back because everything you said basically turned out right.
Yeah, there's a rather large fall from grace that can happen this week.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of like the only fall from grace is like, you know how Titans fans have said they've improved because they've gone from 16th to 13th. So it's not going to be a big fall. I mean, we're at the top here. We're doing everything right.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Okay. So before we start that, we need to talk about how it's Father's Day. Do you know what day Father's Day is coming up?
Sometime in September.
Yeah. I never know the date. But anyway, Father's Day is coming up and you're probably looking for something for your dad. You know, your dad is out there. He's doing his best right now. He's trying not to catch the COVID. He's avoiding the Rona. You know, your dad needs.
What does he need?
He needs something from manscaped.com because you know what? He deserves it. And don't think that your dad's getting around there and he's happy with that giant bush he's carrying with him. You know, you got to go to manscaped.com. And if you put in our exclusive code for Fergo and the Freak listeners, which is NRL, you get 20% off and free shipping. That's a pretty good deal, eh?
Anytime free shipping is involved, that's a great deal.
Yeah, because it's like the price is the price and that's it. You're not going to get any special, like, have you ever been to a shop and you think, oh, this is a good deal, and then you get to the shipping and they want your DNA and your firstborn and like, you know, a leg, and it's like, geez, man, this ain't a good deal anymore. That's not happens at Manscaped, especially when you put in NRL. It lets them know that you went there because of the Fergo and the Freak podcast. So go there. Pick up something for the special man in your life, or fellas, get it for yourself. You want to be match ready all the time. You never know what's going to happen, man. So, go to manscaped.com. NRL is your code, 20% off free shipping. Now, let's get into some footy.
Let's do this.
It's been a good 2.5 minutes since we had a really good conversation about football. And so we're going to do the NRL Round 14 preview, and it starts on Thursday night, 7:50 p.m. The fourth place Roosters take on the second place Storm. I tend to think the Storm could put up a big score in this one. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm astounded that this is yet again on a Thursday night. I mean, it's a great way to kick off the round, but you know how this doesn't have top-notch billing on a Friday night or even a Sunday afternoon, I'll never know. But anyway, I'm surprised Storm are such long odds at the moment. I think they're carrying like 250, 270, something like that in various betting markets. I can only assume that's because Cam Munster is out.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about him being out.
Yeah. So, purely for that reason, I'm leaning towards the Roosters. And it really is a flip of the coin. It's, anything could happen, as we saw the last time these two teams played. So, I would suggest the Roosters, but not with any great confidence. Obviously, it looks like Morris is back. Flanagan's back in Robinson's good graces this week. Whether they make a difference, who knows? Ryan Hall's obviously free to play.
Yeah, that's devastating to the Roosters.
Shocking. Absolutely shocking.
Did you see the tweet I did about that?
Yes, I did.
It was so good. If anyone else, go through my Twitter. You should be following me anyway.
So I think it'll be a really good matchup though. As usual, I think, it'll be one in the forwards always. And I think I'm expecting a big game from Brandon Smith.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he plays. It's going to be interesting to see how the playmaking duties are for the Storm because, no Cameron Smith, no Munster. Like it's been a long time since I can remember them ever having that situation, and they kind of need one or the other, and Yeah, I wonder if I should change my tip. No, I'm going to stick with the Storm. I think
Sticking with the Storm.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the Storm. I tell you what, I think the Roosters are not playing as well as a lot of the people that are on TV that like to gag on them every time they speak about them. I just think that they're just not playing that well, and
I agree.
We'll see in this one.
I actually think the same of the Storm, though. I think both teams have been well under par the last few weeks. Roosters have probably been lucky to scrape home some of those wins, and it's really just been some class that's got them over the line as opposed to effort. Yeah. And I would think that both Bellamy and Robinson would have their teams well and truly primed for this particular matchup.
Yeah, they're going to enjoy this win, whoever gets it.
Yes, very much so.
Now, on to the big game of the weekend. It starts at 6 p.m. Friday evening, I guess. It's the 11th place Warriors, who I don't think they've lost any plays this week, so they'll be about the same as last week. They won't improve.
They have no Hetherington, but he was not going to play regardless.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah, that was a shocker, that head high tackle. But they take on the number one runaway, leading the competition, best club on planet Earth, Penrith Panthers. It's going to be a tough one for the Warriors, I think.
I think so too. I mean, they have been most improved in the last few weeks. Obviously, got the win last week as well. Some would say, an upset there, but I would expect Panthers to put in a solid performance here. That being said, it could be a danger game for that very reason. Panthers were obviously pushed a few weeks ago by the Titans. They've been a little bit lackluster. There's been some mention that, Ivan Cleary might want a wake-up call loss. I think that that's ridiculous. Nobody ever wants a loss. But what you do want to see is in those tight matches where you're probably not performing at your best, or moves and set plays aren't coming off, that you're still able to grind out those wins, which the Panthers have been able to do. Warriors, I just don't think that they have that fight in them, sadly. So, obviously as I said, no Hetherington, and he's really been leading from the front and really motoring, the forward pack across the line. So it'll be interesting to see how the rest of them actually man up for this particular game.
Yeah, it will be. It's I'd know that there's no truth in the rumour that Penrith have applied to have John Bateman in the opposition every single week. Because I thought Kikau was going to get 3 or 4 weeks on the sideline just for humiliating him the way he did last week. It was terrible.
It was beautiful to watch.
I loved it. So next game, Friday night, 7:55 p.m, the third-placed Eels versus the 12th-placed Dragons. There's a lot of talk that this could be Paul McGregor's last game in charge, which means he's just got to be close to getting a contract extension once again.
Exactly right.
The Eels are not playing as well as they were about a month and a half ago, which is really interesting. They should beat the Dragons, but I got some worries about the Eels. Like, it's not a bad time for them to still be winning games but not be in their best form. But they just don't look the team they were earlier in the year. And I wonder if that's a case of, you got your ups and downs during the season, or if it's a case of maybe they just got off to a great start and other teams are catching up to them now and what they do. It's going to be interesting to see how they finish off this year, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think other teams have figured out how to play against them. They're slightly predictable. And where they have had those either epic scores or those tough wins has come off the back of some individual plays, either from Gutherson or Mitchell Moses. But, his little pet play when things are tough is doing the chip over the top for himself.
Yeah.
But everyone's figured that out now, so it's not as effective. And some of the defensive, reads and efforts from opposition, they've started to figure out how to stop Micah Sivo.
Yeah.
Obviously a lot easier said than done, and it's obviously about timing and everything. But, they've really been able to just kind of get their measure a little bit. So they either need to evolve their game or, their forwards need to start being a bit more dominant. But I think the Dragons could make a game of this purely off the back of the fact that Parramatta had that slogfest with the Sharks in atrocious conditions.
Oh, that was so bad.
I mean, that's an under sevens dream, but, I think there'd be some heavy legs this week needing a bit more recovery than what they would on a decent surface. So it'll be interesting to see the first 20. I think the intent in the first 20 will be key.
Yeah, and the Dragons, the weird thing about the Dragons is they do have talent in that team, but they just don't turn up to most games. It's been good to see Saylor playing in the starting lineup. That's given them a bit of a spark. Duff, he can, be on, which is good for them. But I just think that the overall strength of the Eels, they really should get home. But, that's why we play the games. You never know.
Yeah, that's right.
On to Saturday afternoon, 3 p.m, we've got the 8th place Sharks, who really pushed the Eels last week, against the ever-improving, about to destroy the competition, 13th placed Gold Coast Titans.
Sharks next.
Yeah, Sharks pretty easily, hey?
Yeah, it is. Look, yes, the Titans are improved, but, there might be, if they get out of the blocks quickly, I suppose similar to Dragons and Eels, for the same reasons, what has their recovery looked like this week in terms of the Sharks? How are they been able to prepare and what does that first, 15, 20 minutes look like? But I think that they'll just have too much class against the Titans.
They should do. One of the interesting things the game's number one statistician, Andrew Ferguson, was telling me a couple of weeks ago. He put together a list of, and I don't know if he's released it yet, but he put together a list of when teams win their games based on how many days they back up. And you know how you get teams that say, oh, we have a short turnaround and it's no good for us. And then you've got other teams that are like, oh, we've got a long turnaround and it's great for us. The statistics don't bear that out at all. Hey?
No.
It's crazy.
It's an excuse.
Yeah.
That only ever comes out as an excuse. Because when you win on a short turnaround, it's never a problem.
Mm-hmm. And the stats showed that for a lot of clubs, the short turnaround is better for them. I think what it probably comes down to is just anecdotally a club feels like it doesn't get its full preparation in. And so when they think of like the short turnarounds, they're like, oh, well, we get a couple less days to train, a couple less days for rehab. We don't get the full amount of time we like to prepare, but they take out of the equation like their wins and losses.
Yeah.
That short turnaround, which is kind of weird. The Titans has talked that they could extend the contract of Justin Holbrook, who is under contract still for a couple of years, because they've improved from 16th place on the ladder to 13th place on the ladder. Have you ever wasted money on anything?
Not to this degree, no.
Look, I've bought some weird shit, and I don't think I've wasted money to that degree. It's been absolutely hilarious hearing people justify like, oh, well, he did good in Super League, which means nothing. And then it's like, oh, well, they're going pretty good compared to last year. And it's like, yeah, well, they were wooden spooners. And just you go down the list of all things, like what type of dumb, idiotic, stupid club has a brand new coach that has 13 games under his belt and decides that's enough. We've seen enough. We're in 13th place. Let's extend his contract forever. It's so dumb.
Yes. As in our pre-show chat, it's straight out of the St. George Illawarra playbook.
Yeah, it's Chuck and a Mary. Chuck and a Mary. Actually, I was going to put that as the hashtag for a tweet I did yesterday, and I thought I won't do it. And then the Greeno from the starting block tweeted me that exact thing. He said, "Oh, this is called chucking a Mary." I was like, geez, he said it.
Oh, no. Good old Greeno.
It's like, you know what? I love when people do good tweets, but not when they're ones I could have done.
Exactly.
Okay, so Saturday afternoon, 5:30 p.m, we've got the 14th place Cowboys, who looked terrible last week, against the 7th placed Rabbitohs, who I go between thinking that they're crap and thinking, they're playing better than I expect them to.
Yes. Oh, I'm glad it's not just me. I think 7th is well underperforming for this particular squad. Obviously, they've got their own issues at the moment with Bennett being in a COVID hold.
Yep.
Another new phrase that I don't feel I ever want to repeat post this NRL season.
Imagine last year if you said someone, you know what, Wayne Bennett's going to be out for 2 weeks in a COVID hold. They'd be like, what the hell does that mean?
What new tackle is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, look, the Rabbitohs should get this done. I would suspect that Mitchell should just run riot.
Yeah.
I just have this feeling he's kind of due.
He is. And the Cowboys, it's weird watching it. I think that they've said to Josh Hannay, we're not going to have you as our coach next year. And if I'm Josh Hannay, I'm like, that's fine. I'll do what I need to do. But, I'm not busting my ass if you decide that I'm not going to be here next year. And the Cowboys, because they look like individuals out there at the moment, and when you throw in the way that, what's his name, the halfback, back last week, Morgan, that's it, Michael Morgan. I mean, he looked terrible.
He looked disinterested.
Yeah, and I know it's his first week back, but in defence, it just looked like he was like, what can I do to make it look like I'm trying to tackle someone, but I don't actually want to touch anyone?
Like Bryce Cartwright.
Yes. Oh, jeez. That's so
savage.
True. I can't wait until he's playing for the Bulldogs next year. It's going to be so good. Now, Saturday evening, I don't even know what's going to happen with this game. We've got the 5th place Raiders, Canberra Raiders, who just got spanked last week. You know they're going to turn it around, and they're going to play against the 15th place Broncos or whoever is left.
Yes, well, they may need to borrow players off the Warriors, and I won't take credit for that. I saw it on Twitter. I don't know who said it, but I loved it. It'll be the Broncos Invitational team. Look, the Raiders should well and truly get this done. It's obviously down in Canberra. It'll be cold. It'll be wet. Who knows? It could snow. I mean, that would be amazing.
It would.
But the Broncos are just in all sorts of strife right now. And whether, this latest revelation of these players being out, whether that is all null and void and there's no case to answer, there are some serious problems there that is just not able to be rectified on the park until they get their back of house operations sorted.
Well, you look at just their last 7 days. Take out the fact that they're in 15th place and playing like garbage. Their last 7 days, a big bunch of their coaching staff and training staff are in a COVID lockdown. Their coach goes into a COVID lockdown. They fine Tavita Pangai Jr. for breaking the lockdown voluntarily and then sack him a couple of days later. Now they're under investigation from the Queensland Police because 10 of their players attended some function, and who knows where that's going to end up. And worst of all, Ben Eichen is applying to be their CEO. So it's just a real bad week for the Broncos.
Yeah, I mean, what Darius Boyd chose to step down from the leadership group.
Wasn't that a blow?
I think the other funny thing I saw on Twitter was somebody saying, "Oh, what, they have a leadership group?"
Yeah, I said that.
Yeah. Oh, was it you?
Yeah. I'm sure other people did too, but I was like, "What? They got a leadership group?"
Yeah, it's not looking good for the Broncos in any way, shape or form. And as you said, the Raiders will absolutely want to come out and show that last week was just a case of them being beaten by a far better team.
Yeah.
With that said, I was going to tweet this when I was at the game, but I was actually trying to watch the game and not have my head in my phone. Rapana really appears to have just picked up where Leilua left off with brain snap moments. Not quite as epic as Joey, but, he's really getting close. There's just some stupid things that he's doing, which is a massive liability for the team. Curtis Scott is useless.
Yeah, he's a zero. He gives them nothing. It's in fact worse than that because he gives them nothing in attack, and in defence he is diabolical.
Yeah. So, and Bateman was owned in every way in that game. He had one good, hit up or good patch where, he thought, right, this is it. I'm going to get over the top of Kickow, and then Kickow just decided to swat him away like a fly.
Just blasted him. I loved it. There was that moment where it was very early in the game. Bateman knocks the ball out of Kickow's hands, and he's, hooping it up and hollering and stuff like that. And it's like, calm down. It's like 3 minutes in. And then just for the rest of the game, Kickow is just a destroyer of worlds, and he just does it against Bateman, and it was just beautiful.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, yeah, and it was a great atmosphere at the game. Obviously not a lot of people there, but very vocal. It was the Raiders need to put in a bit more of an effort. Nickel Klokstad seemed to have a bit of a confidence issue. Really didn't want to catch a ball on the full at all last week. Really needs to turn that around this week. Otherwise, you'll get a couple of cheap points scored against you.
Yeah, 100%. Now, Sunday afternoon, this game would have been amazing 20 years ago. It is the sixth place Knights who are really, they've put egg on my face. I just can't believe how high they are on the table. Versus the ninth place Seagulls. This is a really important game for the Seagulls because their last month has been pretty bad, and they are in danger of just falling out of that race for the top 8, and they probably should be in there.
Yeah, look, I could not agree more. I mean, obviously quite injury ravaged. Following on from last season, really, couple of ins this week, which should help them out. But it's a danger game for Manly, very much so. Particularly being in Newcastle. I think I said last week that this will be hyped to the hilt as a, 97 grand final rematch. So they'll probably be wheeling out old boys if they can do that up in Newcastle. It could go either way though. I genuinely believe that, if Manly gets out to, gets a couple of tries early, that could be enough to, get them over the line. But they need to have a far better defensive mindset than what they had last week.
Yeah, 100%. And it's interesting because I feel as though, Manly really should be looking at this game and saying, look, this is one, it's going to be difficult to win, but we should win this. It's just up the road. And it's a must win for them at this stage. Yeah. But the Knights, they've been playing pretty well. They've had a few injuries of their own to deal with, especially around hooker. I just hope we don't see another thing where it's like Blake Green does nothing in the game and the media don't know what to say, so they go, wow, we fit in so seamlessly. It's like, yeah, it just did nothing. It was great. It's going to be a really interesting matchup though, and it's going to be interesting to see if they march out all the old boys from, the 90s and have them all in masks. That'll be fantastic. I don't think they'd be able to have them on the ground. They'd probably stick them in the hills somewhere. Yeah. I just want to see Mark Sargent wearing a mask. That'd be great.
Wouldn't be able to tell who any of them are.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, wow, they've got so many doctors attending this game. It's fantastic. So we go on to the last game of the round, 4 p.m., and it is the 10th placed West Tigers who, man, like their season has fallen apart, kind of like the Broncos season, but it's all been on the field. And they take on the 16th placed Bulldogs, who is everyone's favourite team now because everyone kind of wants the Broncos to win the wooden spoon.
Yes, that's true. This is just the crappy game of the round, and it's Sunday at 4:00. I mean, talk about starting and finishing your rounds with polar opposite games.
I tell you what, I cannot wait to fall asleep during this game. It's going to be such a nice sleep on the couch.
Yeah. Look, the Tigers should get it done. Again, not saying it with any real confidence. Billy Walters is a big out, I think, for the Tigers.
He did his ACL and his MCL.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking for him, given how long he's waited to kind of get his shot. And off the back of no Harry Grant, I don't know where their creativity comes from if Benji isn't on.
Well, that's the thing. I actually tipped the Bulldogs in this game, and
yeah, right.
I felt really weird about it, but unlike you, I look at this West Tigers team, and Benji's not been in good form for about a month and a half, 2 months. And I just look at the West Tigers and I'm like, where are the points? And I look at the Bulldogs and I'm like, well, they're going to try hard. And like when you look at the game breakers that are left in both sides, the Bulldogs actually have a few players in there, like a Foran, a DWZ and stuff, where it's like if they actually play well, they kind of should win this game.
But again, the word there is if, and it's the same with Tigers. If they play well,
exactly.
They've got no Faluma, they've got Leilua. If Benji's on, forget it. So there's a lot of, if they play well, either one of these teams should win.
So you're picking the West Tigers, are you?
I'm going for the Tigers.
Yeah.
I don't know why. There is nothing there other than flipping a coin, essentially.
I know, right? It's weird to pick games like that, and you're like, I've just got nothing. I'm going to go for this team, and there's
yeah, and it's a totally different reason to as the Roosters Storm, where you're flipping a coin because you genuinely can't pick between the two. This one you're flipping a coin because you're like, meh, I don't care.
Yeah, that's the other good thing. Sometimes there's games, and you're just like, I don't care so much that I'm going to actively avoid this match, and oh man, this is one of them. So
yes.
that
sad
is
but true.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's like that's basically the wrap up of round 14 in the 2020 National Rugby League competition. How good is it to be a Panthers fan right now?
Yeah, not going to lie, it's pretty darn good. There's a good vibe about the place. And it's just really sad that, Mulgoa Road will not be able to be shut down at the end of the season when the trophy comes, to the foot of the mountains because, got to be socially distanced.
I know. Maybe what we could do is they could set up 1.5 metre markers on the M4, along the M4, and just shut down the M4 like it is, during the weekday.
Peak hour.
Yeah. And just have the Panthers just roll up the road, the M4, and everyone would have enough space there.
That would be delightful.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Could you imagine? So, you think back to 91 with, where Royce, infamously said, I'm having a beer with everybody.
Yeah.
Who is that person in this Panthers team?
Oh, wow.
I've got a thought, but I want to hear yours.
I think it's Nadine.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I reckon it's Liam Martin. I reckon he'd be the one.
Oh, yeah, he would too, actually. I love Liam Martin. Yeah,
when he scored last week, I thought of you straight away based on, what you'd said when we caught up last week about, how you're loving what he's doing, very underrated. When he scored, I was very excited.
I was too. And the thing I loved about that try is they were all lined up to the left-hand side, and everyone's already freaking out because Kickow is just took ownership of Bateman's soul. So they're all worrying about that. And Coruscant picks up the ball, looks to the left, and just pulls a little one on the right-hand side. And you saw the Raiders go, oh, shit.
Well, even Kickow's first try, or the first try scored by Kickow, rather, you actually see him turn around and kind of look as if to say, is that getting pulled back? Because that was too easy. That was not even a training run. I don't know what it was, but you could just see there was a look of disbelief that he managed to get through the line so easily. And that look, even at the ground, you could see it. It was very prominent. And watching the replays, it sparks joy.
Oh, it's amazing. And and the thing was, as soon as he got the ball on that run, it just felt unfair because a big dude running that quick, and it's who's going to tackle him? There's just no one in the game is going to tackle him like that one-on-one.
Yeah, I think something similar in terms of wording was said in the commentary when I caught up watching the game, and Vossi and Anasta were commentating, and where our tickets were actually allocated for this game was literally the row in front of the commentary box. And so you'd turn around every now and again just to see their reactions, just to get a feel for, are what we feeling as supporters at the ground the same as what they're feeling, given they've got replays and things like that. And there's a couple of moments where, particularly and Annesley's come out and said it was fine, but where there was the penalty awarded against Martin for taking Rapana over the sideline, which then led to a Raiders try. But you could see, turn around, you could see them blowing up, going, that's not a penalty. This is ridiculous. So very, very good times ahead. And, you read a few things this week in terms of predicted ladders, etc., and everyone has got Panthers as first place.
Yeah, they just I just can't say. I don't think the Eels are going to score 2 more wins than them for the rest of the year. The Storm, look, you don't know about the Storm. They're always there and thereabouts. The fact that they're just 1 point behind, competition point behind them is like some sort of miracle. But the Roosters aren't going to beat them. And I looked at the Panthers draw after this game, and there was they should win, and you're not going to win every game you're supposed to win, but they should win every single game. And the only one that really worried me was the Eels game, which could be 50-50. But I need to see them play the Eels because they're the only top team that they haven't beaten.
Yeah, so if you look ahead, and this has obviously become very Penrith-centric, but, who cares? So Panthers next week have the Sharks, and next week the Eels have the Storm. So that will be a really telling game. In terms of buying a bit of space between Penrith and Melbourne, you'd want the Eels to win, but that would also then be on the provision that the Panthers get up over the Sharks, which you would expect, particularly being a home game. Panthers then play the Tigers, and the Storm will easily get the 2 points over the Sea Eagles that week. And the Eels play the Rabbits, so another tough game. So the Eels have got a fairly difficult run home. Round 17, Panthers are against the Broncos, Rabbits and Storm, so that's got the potential to be anything. Warriors and Eels. So, and I think the Warriors, as we've been saying, the Warriors, they can throw up an upset. So that could be interesting. Then obviously the big one is, the 11th of September, which is the Panthers and the Eels. Again, at home for Penrith. So that will be fantastic because can lock out those Eels supporters from the ground.
It'll be nice to not have to deal with the unkept masses in yellow and blue.
Oh, they'll sneak in though.
Probably.
Someone will get tickets for their mates or something.
They're all getting fucking COVID at the moment in Parramatta, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a bit scary. Who have the Panthers got? Cowboys, round 19. Oh, the Eels will have the easy beat Broncos that week.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the last round, Panthers have got Bulldogs, Eels have got the Tigers, the Storm have got the Dragons. So I think of, those top 3 or 4 teams, the Eels have got the more difficult run in than what the others do.
And I would guess that statistically, I'd be shocked if anyone has a softer run in than the Panthers. And as you say, look through that, like the 2 hardest games for the Panthers coming up, like are the Parramatta Eels and the Sharks. I reckon it's kind of weird that, and they really should smash the Sharks.
Yeah, they should. Anything can happen though.
Are you one of these people that say they win every game for the rest of the year? Are you one of these people that is like, oh, man, I wish we had have lost one just
No, that's rubbish.
See, I'm one of those people.
Why?
I don't know. I've got no rational decision for it.
Wow.
So what have we won so far? Like, what is it? It's not 11 in a row. It's got to be 9 in a row. Is it 8? Okay, so we've won 8 in a row. Okay. So we'd have to say we won the next 7 games. Okay. So that takes it to 15. Then we would have to win, 2 games to win to get into the grand final, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like all of a sudden you're starting to get up there it would be the greatest end to the season, like one of the top 5 greatest endings to the season ever.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff worries me.
You're overthinking it. Stop overthinking.
I know, but it's terrifying. It's like, we normally can't have nice things.
No, and the Broncos are proving why we don't have nice things. Speaking of the Broncos, I've managed to do an immaculate segue there. They released a statement whilst we've been recording saying Broncos are aware of reports of an alleged COVID breach by a group of players at the Everton Park Hotel after reports to both Queensland Police and the NRL's Project Apollo. The club has spoken at length to the players involved who attended the hotel for lunch on Saturday, August 1, the same day that players and staff inside the club's COVID bubble had transitioned back into more relaxed Project Apollo Queensland restrictions. Okay. The team had played Cronulla at Suncorp Stadium the night before, which marked the end of a 14-day hard lockdown put in place after the team travelled to Sydney for the round 10 game against the West Tigers on July 17. The players were of the understanding that lunch at the hotel was permissible under the more relaxed restrictions, which they were under at the time. The club has been working closely with the NRL and provided a range of information as requested and is awaiting determination.
Oh, there we go. So it sounds like that is going to be a bit of a non-story then.
Exactly right.
Yeah. By the way, when you were reading that out and it said they were under a 14-day hard lockdown, it's like I'm pretty sure I've seen videos like that.
Really couldn't get through one podcast.
I'm sorry. So, it's that's it. I reckon I think we've covered that pretty well. And is there anything else to talk about in rugby league? I think we've really nailed all of it, haven't we?
Nothing that is worth wasting our breath on.
No, apart from the Hull FC. That Hull FC had about 73 people at the club test positive for COVID, and so Super League might be fucked. But outside of that.
Outside of that, you've got those poor players stranded over there at the moment. I mean, Darcy Lussick is being very vocal about it, and as he should be, because the way that those Toronto players in particular are being treated is just abhorrent.
Do you know, this has happened time and time again in Super League and in the lower grades, and it's just the normal over there. Like, I think that's why I haven't talked too much about it on Twitter, because it happens all the time. And the fact that the players' wages aren't guaranteed by Super League or the Rugby Football League is disgusting, because every time because they allocate money to these clubs that should be used to cover the salary cap. So there's no excuse for it. And then on top of that, like, nobody at the Rugby Football League has ever gone without a paycheck. No one. And they expect it from players. I said on Twitter, I think the players should strike. If I was a Super League player right now, I'd say, you know what? I'm not playing until they get paid. And I think they should all do that because I tell you what, they would get paid before the weekend kicked off.
Yep. Yeah, it really is atrocious to see the predicament that these guys are in. And yeah, something needs to be done and somebody needs to be held accountable.
They really do. So hopefully that gets sorted out. I just can't believe that all the Hull FC players have been around a 5G tower to catch it. It's just scary.
I didn't know they had 5G in the UK.
Yeah, they definitely don't in Hull. They're still going on fucking whatever was that. What was it before there was 3G? What was that called?
Before 3G was 2G.
Oh, was it
analog?
Analog. Yeah, just an analog signal.
Just analog.
Yeah. All you can do in Hull is text.
Play Snake.
Yeah, it's terrible. Play Snake. That's probably what got them into all this trouble.
Boom tish.
I had to. Anyway, before we fall into any more bloody innuendos, where can people find you online?
I am on Twitter at NLC081.
Excellent. And what's your address so they can find you in real life? No, I'm sorry.
Mulgoa Road.
I know, yeah. Mulgoa Road. It'll be in about, the end of October, and you'll be there with a face mask.
Big building with Panthers written on it.
Yeah. And we'll all be celebrating, and fucking Martin will be, you know what Martin will have to say? I'm going to have a beer with none of yous.
Exactly right.
Brilliant. That'll be so 2020. So, look, thank you so much for coming on. You're so lovely.
You're welcome. Anytime.
It's fantastic. If you're out there and you're looking for a gift, if you want to treat yourself, go to manscaped.com, put in the code NRL, get 20% off, free shipping, keep yourself match fit. We're going to come out of lockdown soon. You don't want to look like a hairy beast. So that's what you're going to do. Go to manscaped.com, NRL, promo code. Thank you very much, Nadine. We'll try and get you on next week if you're not busy. How about
that? Sounds great.
Excellent. Thanks for listening, everyone.